Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is Mathematics channel. I'm BS Adwan. You know that this channel has been presenting mathematics content for the last 4 years. So kindly subscribe our channel in order to boost our motivation, in order to motivate us more to keep working with the subject. So here is A levels past paper question. What it is: the equation of the curve is y is equal to 8x minus x square. We have to express it as express 8x minus x square in the form a minus x plus b whole square, stating numerical values of a and b. So let us begin the solution. How are we going to solve? We will start working on 8x minus x square, and first thing we can do here is we can take minus sign common, which will make x square positive. We write that first, and 8x negative we write that later. And then if we observe the form we are asked to convert it into, if we look at this form, we can see it as x plus b whole square. So if we complete square here, how can we complete square? A square minus 2a, a is x. What should be b to make 8 here? B needs to be 4. Then we write b square. It appears as 4 square. This is an extra value. We subtract it also. Actually, students, what we are doing here is we are completing square. For that, we need to find b. B we identified as 4. Then completing square. In order to complete square, we have to add b square, which is 4 square. And basic mathematical fact is that any value which we are introducing by addition ourselves, we have to subtract that as well. So we add 4 square, which is required. We subtract that, which is the requirement of the basic mathematics. So if we want to add something, we will have to subtract that also. Next, we can see that this underlined expression can be expressed as x minus 2 whole square minus the other term left over here is minus 4 square. That is written. And then we can see that if we allow this minus sign, this square bracket, to get removed, then we have x minus 2 whole square negative and minus minus plus 16. Then we can see that we can write 16, which is positive value, first, and x minus 2 square later. Afterwards, what do we have now? If we compare it with that form which we had to convert it into, that was the form of the question. And if we look back at the question, what does the question state? Question states express it as a minus. So we have to write that here for comparison. It a minus. So we have to write that here for comparison. It is a minus x plus b whole square. So if we compare it with the two forms, what will we have? We can specify the value of a, which is 16 here. This implies value of a is 16 and value of b is minus 2. So it has been done now. Now what is the next part of the question? Next part is hence or otherwise find the stationary point of the curve. What are stationary points? Actually, the curve is the second question here is we have to find stationary point. We have to find stationary point. Stationary points are what here? The equation of the curve is y is equal to 8x minus x square. We have to differentiate it with respect to x. Differentiate with respect to x. And if we differentiate, we have dy by dx equal to d by dx of 8x minus x square. Dy by dx is equal to d by dx of 8x. D by dx of x square. Dy by dx. If we bring it outside d by dx, and d by dx applies on x, Derivative of x square is 2x dx by dx. We know using power rule of the derivative. This is the differentiation. Then we can see that dy by dx is equal to 8 into dx by dx is 1 minus 2x dx by dx is 1 again. Dy by dx finally has this form 8 minus 2x. So we know what the stationary points are. Stationary points are those points where the derivative of the function is 0. So in order to find stationary point, we apply condition for stationary points. Condition is, for stationary points, let dy by dx, which is first derivative, equal to 0. This takes us to this one, 8 minus 2x equal to 0. And then 8 is equal to 2x. If 2x is sent on the other side and dividing by both sides by 2, we obtain the value at which the function has stationary point. It is value of the x equal to 4. We substitute this in, put this value in equation of curve, which is y is equal to 8x minus x square. So what will happen? X is 4. So this can be seen that 8 4 is 32 minus 4 squared 16. So finally it is 16. Hence the stationary point will be value of x and y together will make that. So stationary point is x is 4, corresponding y is 16. Question actually continues. Find the set of values of x for which y is greater than or equal to minus 20. So question extends, students. Third part of it is part number 3 here of this question is find set of values for which y is greater than or equal to minus 20. So what y is? Y is now the solution begins here as y is greater than or equal to minus 20. Y is 8x minus x square greater than or equal to minus 20. If we take these two left side values on right hand side, we have x square on that side positive, 8x negative, and 20 is negative on right hand side, and inequality sign remains on this form, and on this side it is 0. What will we have then? We can write x square minus 8x minus 20 is less than or equal to 0. If we apply midterm break method, it is x square minus 10x plus 2x minus 20 less than or equal to 0. Then we have x common, x minus 10 plus 2 common. Midterm break method applies here, x minus 10 less than or equal to 0. Then x minus 10 is one factor, x plus 2 is the other factor. Okay, if we separate these two forms, first consider the fact of equality, x minus 10, x plus 2 equal to 0. This implies x minus 10 equal to 0, x plus 2 equal to 0, with the statement or in between. X is equal to 10 is one value, x equal to minus 2 is the other. So these two are the values which are satisfying that given inequality. So now we consider the other fact. Now what the other fact we will have? The other fact is that the product of these two factors is negative. So product of these two factors is negative implies any one of them is negative. This implies two statements. X minus 10 is negative or x plus 2 is positive. This is one possibility. The other possibility we are going to discuss later. It states x is less than 10. It states x is greater than minus 2. So can we represent it on line, on real line, on number line? Can we represent minus 2 is this value, 10 is this value. So the numbers are less than 10, greater than minus 2. So they can be represented as this. These are the numbers greater than minus 2, less than 10. The other possibility here is, you know that the product of two factors is negative. Product of two factors is negative. We are referring to this statement. The first you can see on this page, we are referring to that, what will we have here? X minus 10 negative has been discussed, or the other possibility is that x minus 10 is positive and the other value x plus 2 is negative. That makes the product negative, right? Product of these two factors is negative, means one of them is negative. Earlier we said x minus 10 negative, now we say x minus 10 is positive. Earlier we said x plus 2 positive, now we say that it's negative. This takes us to the form where x is greater than 10 and this x is less than, what can we state here? X is less than minus 2. So greater than 10 minus 2, it's a two disjoint sets actually. Greater than 10 are these numbers, less than minus 2 are these numbers. So set of values, he says, set of values, right, satisfying. So how can we write that set? One of these statements which by solving inequality we saw, one of the number was 10. Equation part of the inequality that gave us two values, 10 and minus 2. So one of the value is 10, the other is minus 2. While solving inequality we reached this x such that x such that what? X is greater than minus 2, less than 10. Union another, what is it? X such that x is greater than 10 or x is less than minus 2. So these three subsets actually make the corresponding set of values which satisfy inequality y greater than or equal to minus 2, 20. So that's it, student. It has few more parts also. It has few more parts, so let us continue our solution. What is the next part of the question? Next is fourth part. Fourth part of the question is that if g of x is defined as g is from x to 8x minus x square for x greater than or equal to 4, state domain and range. Of g inverse, state domain and range of g inverse of x. So let's look at what g of x is. G of x is 8x minus x square, and it is specified that this is defined for values greater than 4. So as we know that this is a polynomial function of second degree, polynomial functions are functions defined everywhere. So if this condition for x greater than or equal to 4 were not imposed, we would have written the domain entire real number set. Now, what is the domain of G? Actually, this isn't required, but let us try to find. And then we will actually relate it with the inverse. Look, domain is all values greater than 4, as they tell us. This is how we write it. Or it can be expressed in another form also. It can be expressed in another form also. What that form is? Domain of g of x is x such that x is greater than 4. This is how we can write. And look, range of the function is, if we substitute 4 in it, what do we get? 4 is the first value we are allowed to substitute. If we substitute 4 will make 8 4 32 minus 16. 16 is the first value. And rest of the answers will be greater, because every number then will be substituted will be greater. 16 and greater numbers are its range. Can also be expressed as x such that x is greater than equal to 16. So greater than or equal to 16 is the way we will